go. All right, Tommy. So thank you very much for taking your time here at the Smarter E conference and Power to Drive conference, where we host the battery expedition vehicle and talk to the leaders of our field on how to innovate in e-mobility. Before we jump into today's discussion on charging, I want to ask you, how did you enter the field of e-mobility?
I think it's the electrical power was a clear choice for me, being born in Vaasa, Finland, which is kind of like an energy engineering city
Yeah.
with a lot of companies. And then my father saying to me when I took my old Ford Escort year 74 and started driving to the university for the first day, he said that don't come back as a milliampere car. So it's a clear message. You go to the power side. I studied power electronics, power engineering for electrical side. And then basically work with energy efficiency, electric drives in the industrial side, which is already clean tech.
Yeah.
But then I was actually working in southern Germany at the time. And then my friend founded a startup in Finland concentrating on electric powertrains for heavy machinery in 2011. So we started trying to sell electric motors to truck manufacturers, excavator manufacturers in 2011.
For electric drivetrains?
Electric drivetrain and hybrid drivetrains.
Already back then, okay.
I think we did so many first, like the first stone crusher hybrid, first electric excavators of the world. And there's all these Oslo excavators today, the electric ones, they are my old projects in there. So it was very interesting time. You're electrifying everything. Everybody was interested, but the thing didn't really start. And we were thinking every year, next year it will start, next year it will start. That company got acquired by Danfoss. I was actually working and it's still alive. They are doing that. They are now electrifying in masses, the heavy stuff. But in the beginning, it was quite small game. But then came the opportunity in 2019 that I got a call from city of Lahti in Finland, that a company who is known for welding machines, so power electronics company, that they have started a charging company. They need somebody with an experience on e-mobility to actually take the lead.
Wow.
So that's kind of the story on how I ended up in Kempower.
So then you took over the lead of Kempower and made it big.
Which was 10 people at the time, and not a single unit sold in 2019 when I joined.
Yeah, wow. So I think that is the right point where you can outline the innovation that Kempower did in the past and offers nowadays. So just give us an outline on what is the key competence Kempower delivers.
I think it started in a way, and why we grew so fast, that we were thinking that the dilemma of charging is not how to get the power to a single vehicle and how much this power is. We thought about that there will be a lot of electric vehicles. And how you can share the power, how you can get like large amounts, like fleets of electrical vehicles moving. So that's why we came this distributed charging system from the start. That you have always limited grid connection on site. So how you can divide that most efficient way. And when you're delivering goods, how is your charging hardware is used in the most efficient way all the time, that customers really getting what you invested for, that the usability of the product is 100%. If somebody leaves the car there by accident, then you just transfer the power to the next car, and the charge point operator can sell the energy, or if you're a truck operator, you can charge your vehicle the next one. So this was kind of the core idea, what made us different. Now you have the other companies doing similar things maybe, but we are the pioneer on this distributed side.
So smart charging in a different way.
In a different way. And really thinking about this, that how can you do more with less? Even now the company is more with more, but it's it's basically that when you have something, then how can you use it in most efficient way?
Okay, and what is the key innovation that you would like to point out now? So in 2025,
I'm looking at, for me, I think it's the movement in the market. If we're not talking about the innovation, but the big thing is actually this logistics electrifying.
Okay.
This is clearly something that will change the world a lot, because this is also big. If you look at emission-wise, heavy vehicles are a big source of emissions. And not only talking about, people think about CO2 is the only thing. It's the close emissions. It's the whole, it's air that we breathe. And looking at it from the, let's say, flow of goods, it's happening a lot with trucks, and there is a lot of trucks. We electrified a lot of public transport buses over the years, but the number of buses is not that high.
So if you really want truck traffic, that is and Yesterday I talked to Stefan Goede, who is the CTO of Munich Electrification, building BMS for also trucks, especially commercial vehicles. And he mentioned like we are just at the hockey stick of an exponential curve of the truck industry electrification. Would you see it from your perspective, from the charging perspective, the same way?
It is affecting a lot because the truck is a business tool. And that needs to keep moving because the companies are actually using it, and it's not. I think the personal car, if you eat lunch a little bit like 10 minutes later, nobody really cares.
Yes.
But when you're running a business, things are moving. So more critical things you have. And if you have public transport is stopping, it's the whole city stops. So
Yes.
these are more critical functions.
I mean, the trucks are there to earn money, right?
Yeah.
And they are. The margin on trucking is quite low because they're really tight margins. So
I think about public transport margins, that's the same case. You have to have the use of the equipment you have. Yeah.
And it has to be 100% reliable, right?
Yeah.
And that holds for, yesterday my talk, for the BMS and then the whole battery system and the drivetrain, but also for the charging infrastructure. You have to be on spot and use those 45 minutes. Like in Germany, we have those driving time, right? And the charging time is then 45 minutes. And you have to squeeze in all the energy that you can in order to make the next
getting the powers really high.
Exactly.
And this is kind of the long haul trucks is moving the powers to over megawatt.
That's my question right now. If we are just talking about trucking and this industry, do you see megawatt charging as a thing, as a necessary thing? Because I also hear voices in the field that say like, in 45 minutes with 350 kilowatt charger, you can already get so and so much mileage in that it's decent enough for the next 4.5 hours of driving time. Do you see it the same way, or would you say no megawatt charging
I think
is coming?
it's still kind of, it really depends on your driving range, the size of the truck, and I don't think the whole truck charging is megawatt charging, but that's a kind of key point in there that you enables the whole industry to move.
Okay.
I see when you look at truck charging, there's so much happening at logistic depots, wherever the trucks spend the night.
Yeah.
You want to have all the time when you are not driving. We have been building last year quite many sites in Norway that the charging is in loading docks. That whenever the car is loaded or unloaded, you have a fully charged time on that.
Yeah.
You need kind of special mechanical solutions because you cannot have kind of installations on the ground because the truck drivers will hit them eventually. So it's something from above the vehicle. In France, we deliver something that was underground, that you take the charging cable underground.
I can show you some innovation that we have in the innovation showroom here. It's underfloor charging, but the driver cannot hit it. We'll talk about this later
because it's kind of the idea. And I remember the old, first bus projects when you look at yes, we have a small footprint units, but it said that it's not matter if the bus drivers will hit them. It's only a question of when. So it's...
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of building up this industry, the commercial industry that is like building it right now, but also in general, what is the biggest challenge that you see for our European ecosystem to get moving?
I think it's the power companies must do their part and the utilities. I think the slowdown on Industry 24, there was a lot of charging infrastructure installed, but the demand would have been even higher. And I'm not now talking about the main grid in most of the countries. In some countries, that's a limitation as well. But it's just getting the connections to the sites.
Are you talking about Europe in general? Are you talking about Finland? Are you talking about Germany? Because I just
it's really different in different countries.
Yeah,
but
that's what I mean.
In general, it's slow.
Okay,
or it could be faster.
Okay, good.
In certain countries, it's even slower than the others.
Yeah, so, Germany. You can name Germany because we are really slow on adapting.
But I think the power companies in Germany have been fairly okay compared to... And people talk about Germany as a bureaucratic country, but normally when you have a paperwork, everything works.
But in a way, the paperwork done.
But if you haven't done that, then it takes time. But I used to live 6 years in Germany, so this is from private life,
Gotcha.
But everything is okay, then everything works. So, but in many countries, there's also bureaucracy permits that the industry, I would say, the power industry or the energy companies. This is kind of the first case that they need to actually grow in a pace that you never did before. and they are local monopolies. You know that you don't need to create business, but this is an opportunity for them to actually sell more electricity. So it's hard to understand, but it's of course new thing, and it's not only charging. It's like industrial solar is asking for the same.
They have to understand that they are now the critical instance on enabling a faster adoption of e-mobility, and this is like for some, I think, because you mentioned this monopolistic structure with the long heritage and like old companies with given structures. They have to be more dynamic now, and I think to get this entrepreneurial spirit to
growth
really,
mode. That's a new in this.
Yeah, and they have to realize they are demanded.
Yeah,
right? It's a really positive signal. Like, hey guys, we need your competence.
And that's more business for them, but it's a, I would say, new situation.
Yeah, it's like the pain of growing right now. Like you have to grow somehow, but it's not easy. You have to acquire talent. You have to build up new business units, etc. Like there's an entrepreneurial effort to it.
And I talked with our one of our main customers in Australia. His forecast for Australia that they will run out of people making electrical installations. Wow. That will be the bottleneck there. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but it's true. There's a lot of people are installing not only that, but all the heat pumps, solar, home solar, industrial solar, wind power. Everything is requiring the same people. And if Australia is same as Europe, the young people do not want to study as electrical installers. So you are running out of actually hands on this part as well.
Yeah, I think we also have to value practical jobs even more than we did the last 2 decades. Was also one reason why I started going the academic route back then. But I think that's something for a different discussion. What I would also like to ask you, we talked about the challenges, but what is the potential that we have in Europe? Is there anything where you can say, like, you know, the Asian market, also in the charging infrastructure, is emerging more and more? Do we have the potential to really build a European-built e-mobility ecosystem? Or
I think
is there something unique to our competences?
If you just look at even the geopolitical situation, I think EV infrastructure will become critical infrastructure. And I'm not really sure I would want to hand it over to, for example, China today.
Okay.
And it's basically, you could stop the country when you are electrified if you stop the charging system. So basically looking at, we have actually done a lot for cybersecurity because of that reason.
Every CEO I talked to on the charging side recently says like cybersecurity.
Yeah. And it's nice to be, because we are probably the only one who has ISO 27001 certification for the company and the products, which means that we are even ready now for the NIS2 directive. So it's basically easy discussion with the customers, just land in the papers that we have everything done. But that seems to be that you have had also penetration attempts when you look at the market in here, because if you could actually access the money side of this, this could actually be nice for, and happened to my wife. That was not a cybersecurity attack in a way, but it was AC charging, and somebody had replaced the QR code sticker on there that led to a wrong website.
Yeah,
it was only 250 euros.
Yes,
but it's
I heard that people like some thieves, they put stickers above
and that's really
QR.
easy if you don't have we are using electronic QR codes because of that.
Yeah,
because the sticker is not. It's so easy to replace. You make a website look like that, and then you just hand in your credit card number, and then you start purchasing. That's what happened.
Yes.
She noticed that, but that's kind of and that was her workplace. So it's quite, you know, that these things are too easy to do. So
yeah, so gotcha. So cybersecurity is a thing, and that maybe also leads over already to the advice that you would give, right? If there's one thing that you would pinpoint, that you would outline, where you say like, hey guys, this is really important, especially you as a matured CEO of Kempower, who has experienced a lot, who also is in a transition phase personally right now. What is your advice for our industry?
I think it's the whole world is looking at being self-reliant on critical technology. So this is definitely something where Europe needs to step up. I've been worried about this major bankruptcy of the battery company in Sweden, for example, that there should have been more support, I think, to secure this industry inside the European borders, because you don't know what happens, and this is kind of a world where crazy things are happening really fast.
Yes.
And some major areas are becoming really protective, bringing technology in, and I think Europe has to follow. And I think we have all the capabilities. Know-how is here. You have clever people in Europe, and even if you look at somebody says that you don't manufacture in Europe because of the cost structures, it's not true. You can just do it efficiently. You can build a company that can survive, and the whole ecosystem. I could talk a lot about this battery ecosystem, but that's maybe a topic for another day.
Yeah.
But just if you look at even the charging infrastructure,
we'll do it on my visit
to
Finland. Yeah, you're speaking out of my mind, because this vehicle that we're sitting in right now is kind of my answer to this fact that I saw over the years. We have the competence in Europe. When I was leading the E-Mobility laboratory, we have a lot of competence, but we need to connect it on an operative level and to really build a uniform team across Europe to be aware that, hey, we must build an ecosystem. Otherwise, we will really have serious, not just economic problems, but also political security problems.
And I'm not diminishing wars and things what are happening, but there is a major problem behind. If the Earth is destroyed in a way that you cannot live in every place, looking at how much refugees we have today because of the wars, that's nothing compared to the fact if we have climate refugees coming from the countries which are unlivable.
Yeah.
And or I recently I have been married 20 years, so we took a trip to Maldives. And one choice is because that's the first country that will disappear if the sea rises. So it's not a large chance in a way, but there's a big change that we cannot take it back.
Yeah.
But we have to actually make it slower and make it stop.
And correct the actions that
correct
can be
the
corrected.
actions, yes.
Yes.
Make wise choices.
Yeah.
And I'm betting on energy efficiency.
Yeah.
Whatever is the thing. And today, if you look at like a transportation electrification, it's all about energy efficiency.
Yes, and we connect our competences. I hope I can do my fair share on supporting this, outlining like who has which competence to bring in. Yeah. And then
that's important stuff people have to know, and people bring in the message. That's a key part. Because also it's a world where the messages are quite harsh, especially the people who oppose everything. Yes. And they are speaking the truths. Something is not true, no reasoning behind it. So bringing like the reasons behind it is a very important work.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to do, to do a detailed, granular discussion with scientific integrity that is trustworthy and that builds trust
definitely
between the peers of our field.
Yeah.
So Tomi, thank you very much for this open discussion.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best on your further journey.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hopefully meet you in Finland soon.
Yeah, let's do. Yeah, thanks.